Welcome to Global Lens, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. This is gonna blow your mind. 80 years have passed since the atomic bombings, and on this solemn anniversary, the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki fell into a profound silence. The air was heavy with memory, as if the entire world paused to reflect on the events that forever changed the course of history. In both cities, thousands gathered. Survivors, world leaders, students, and citizens from across the globe, united in a powerful act of remembrance. The presence of so many, from the very young to the very old, spoke to the enduring impact of that fateful day and the shared hope for a better future. At the exact moments when the bombs fell, bells tolled solemnly, their echoes resonating through the parks and into the hearts of all present. A minute of silence followed, a collective breath held in honor of the lives lost and the world forever altered. As the bells faded, doves were released, their white wings catching the sunlight as they soared above Hiroshima's Peace Memorial Park. Against the blue sky, they became living symbols of hope, peace, and the human spirit's resilience in the face of unimaginable tragedy. The ceremonies were more than rituals. They were urgent pleas for peace, echoing the voices of those who survived and those who perished. Each face in the crowd reflected a personal story, a connection to the past, and a determination to prevent such devastation from ever happening again. The mayors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, joined by Japan's prime minister, addressed the world. Their words were solemn vows, promises to never repeat the devastation of nuclear war, and to lead the way toward a future where peace is not just a dream, but a reality for all. The trauma of 1945 still echoes through generations. Survivors, now elderly, held photos of loved ones lost, their hands trembling but their resolve unbroken. Their stories serve as a living warning, a reminder that the horrors of the past must never be forgotten, and that we must protect future generations from similar suffering. These gatherings underscored the destructive power of nuclear weapons and the urgent need for global peace. The banners and flowers were not just symbols but calls to action, reminders that the threat of nuclear conflict still looms, and that the responsibility to prevent it belongs to us all. The message was clear. Hiroshima and Nagasaki's story is not just Japan's, but belongs to all humanity. People from every continent stood together, united by a shared commitment to peace and a determination to ensure that such tragedy is never repeated. As night fell, candlelit vigils illuminated the parks, each flame a silent prayer for peace. The world's conscience was stirred, a call to remember, to reflect, and to act so that the lessons of the past guide our future choices. The ceremonies defied forgetting, insisting on the human faces behind history's statistics. Portraits of survivors and families holding photos of those lost made the tragedy deeply personal, reminding all that every number is a name, a life, a story. Remembrance is the foundation for a peaceful world. Children laid flowers and folded paper cranes, bridging generations in a shared act of hope and healing. Their gestures carried the promise that memory would not fade, and that peace would be pursued with renewed determination. It is a duty for every nation to heed the lessons of these cities. The presence of United Nations representatives and global leaders underscored the universal responsibility to work for disarmament and to build a world where nuclear weapons are never used again. The world must never ignore the cost of nuclear war. The haunting images of destruction and the words etched on memorial plaques serve as stark reminders of what is at stake if we fail to learn from history. Only by remembering, by honoring the past and teaching its lessons, can we build a safer, more compassionate future. The hope that rises with each new generation is a testament to the enduring power of peace and a promise that the world will never forget. The Hibakusha, survivors of the atomic bombings, are the living conscience of the anti-nuclear movement. Their presence is a constant reminder of the devastating consequences of nuclear warfare, and their courage in sharing their stories has shaped the global conversation about peace and disarmament for decades. At every anniversary, Hibakusha gather to share memories of blinding flashes, searing heat, and unimaginable loss. They speak of the moment the world changed forever, of loved ones lost in an instant, and of the long, painful journey of survival and recovery that followed. Their voices carry the weight of history, and their testimonies are both heartbreaking and deeply moving. Their stories cut through politics and ideology, reminding us of the true human cost of nuclear war. No matter how much time passes, the pain and trauma remain vivid, urging us to never forget what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Many hibakusha fear their lessons are being forgotten as nuclear arsenals grow and new generations become distant from the horrors of the past. They worry that the world is slipping back into complacency, ignoring the warnings that their lives represent. They worry that once they are gone, their warnings will fade and the world will once again risk repeating the mistakes of history. The empty chairs at memorials are a stark reminder that time is running out to hear their voices firsthand. Yet their commitment remains unshaken. Despite their age and the weight of their memories, they demand not just restraint but total abolition of nuclear weapons. Their determination inspires others to join the cause for a safer, more peaceful world. Groups like Nihon Hidankyo amplify their voices on the world stage, ensuring that the message of the hibakusha reaches leaders and citizens across the globe. Their advocacy has become a powerful force in the international movement for nuclear disarmament. Their message is simple, yet profound. Choose life over death, hope over fear. They urge us to reject the logic of deterrence and embrace a future where nuclear weapons have no place. The hibakusha are not just victims, they are teachers, guardians of memory, and mentors to the next generation. By sharing their experiences, they help young people understand the importance of peace and the dangers of forgetting the past. They urge us to see the faces of children who would be lost in future wars, to imagine the lives that could be destroyed in an instant, and to act now to prevent such tragedies from ever happening again. Their advocacy is an act of love for humanity, a plea for compassion and understanding that transcends borders and generations. Their voices are a sacred trust for all generations, a legacy of hope, resilience, and the unwavering belief that a world without nuclear weapons is possible if we choose to listen and remember. The hibakusha, survivors of the atomic bombings, are deeply aware that their time to share their stories firsthand is running out. Many of them have spent decades speaking out, hoping to prevent the horrors they endured from ever being repeated. As they grow older, the urgency to pass on their experiences becomes even more profound. With this in mind, they entrust their mission, the pursuit of peace and the abolition of nuclear weapons, to the youth. They believe that the next generation holds the key to ensuring that the lessons of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are never forgotten. Their greatest hope is that young people will not only remember the past, but also actively carry forward the fight for a nuclear-free world. Through activism, education, and creative expression, youth are becoming powerful voices for change. Mayors and officials across Japan and beyond echo this sentiment, emphasizing the transformative power of education in shaping future leaders. The goal is clear: to ensure that those who will one day lead our societies truly understand the catastrophic consequences of nuclear weapons and the immense responsibility they carry. If the next generation truly grasps the horror and suffering caused by nuclear war, they will be more likely to reject policies of destruction and instead advocate for peace and diplomacy. Schools around the world now host peace forums, workshops, and educational programs, making the history of nuclear warfare relevant and urgent for today's students. These initiatives encourage critical thinking and empathy, helping young people see themselves as part of a global movement for peace. To preserve these vital lessons, survivors' stories are being digitized, creating a permanent, accessible archive for future generations. This ensures that even as the hibakusha pass on, their voices will continue to reach and inspire. These powerful testimonies inspire youth to become advocates for peace, motivating them to organize rallies, write messages of hope, and take action in their own communities. The symbolic passing of the torch is a hopeful act. Each generation must rediscover and renew the mission for themselves, finding new ways to keep the dream of peace alive. By listening to hibakusha, young people connect with stories of resilience, courage, and the deep yearning for a world without war. Survivors entrust their memory, their pain, and their hope to the youth, believing that the next generation will honor and protect this legacy. The next generation must become the new storytellers, sharing these lessons with their peers and with the world, ensuring that the call for peace grows louder with each passing year. The future truly depends on their commitment, their compassion, and their willingness to stand up for a world free from the threat of nuclear weapons. Japan's stance on nuclear weapons is fraught with contradiction. As the only nation attacked with atomic bombs, it champions a nuclear-free world, yet refuses to sign the UN treaty banning them. This frustrates hibakusha and peace activists who see it as a betrayal. The government cites security concerns and relies on the US nuclear umbrella, pointing to regional threats. Prime Minister Ishiba calls deterrence a necessary evil. This policy divides the government's priorities from the survivors' pleas. Japan's post-war pacifism is evolving with increased military cooperation with the US. The tension between peace and security is stark. For hibakusha, the nuclear umbrella legitimizes the weapons that destroyed their lives. They argue true security comes from rejecting nuclear arms entirely. Japan, they believe, has a unique moral duty to lead by example. The debate is a struggle for the nation's soul. The anniversaries amplified a global call for nuclear abolition. Survivors, peace groups, and officials sent a clear message: these weapons must go. International support at the ceremonies showed this as a mainstream demand. Groups like Nihon Hidankyo, led by survivors, provide the movement's moral compass. They argue deterrence is a dangerous illusion, increasing the risk of catastrophe. Despite obstacles, the call for disarmament is a demand for a humane world. The struggle pits moral imperative against political reality. The voices from Hiroshima and Nagasaki urge a shift in thinking about security. They call for investment in life, not weapons. The challenge: build a safer future for all. Nuclear deterrence was hotly debated at the anniversary events. Many leaders claim these weapons prevent major wars, but survivors challenge this logic. They argue nuclear arms make the world more dangerous, not safer. Deterrence, they say, is a gamble with humanity's future. Experts warn that nuclear-armed states may feel emboldened in smaller conflicts, complicating wars like Ukraine. The paradox: deterrence may prevent nuclear war but encourage other conflicts. Survivors know weapons once built tend to be used. Their message: true peace is built on trust and diplomacy, not fear. As survivors age, the risk of forgetting grows. Their testimonies are sacred warnings, not just stories. Efforts to digitize survivor accounts are underway, creating global archives. These digital collections make history vivid and accessible. Educational outreach, forums, school visits, museum exhibits brings the past to life for young people. The aim: foster empathy and a commitment to peace. Connecting new generations with these stories builds a foundation for never again. Preservation is a promise to survivors and future generations. These testimonies are a moral inheritance. By protecting these stories, we protect our future. The lessons of Hiroshima and Nagasaki must never fade. Despite the tragedy of 1945, the US-Japan alliance is now one of the world's strongest. The anniversary took place amid this deep partnership, built on shared values and security interests. Military cooperation has grown, with joint defense efforts in the Indo-Pacific. Yet this alliance stands in tension with the hibakusha's pleas for peace. The commemorations remind both nations of their painful past and shared commitment to peace. The partnership shows that former enemies can build a better future, but reconciliation is ongoing. The legacy of the bombs still shapes their dialogue. The challenge: maintain partnership while never forgetting the human cost. As the ceremonies end, one lesson remains. Hiroshima and Nagasaki are not just history, they are warnings and calls to action. The hibakusha's memories force us to ask, what kind of world do we want? We must balance the reality of alliances with the survivors' demand for abolition. The challenge: navigate politics while honoring the moral imperative to end nuclear weapons. Preserving testimonies is our pledge to the future. Teaching youth empowers them to build peace. The hibakusha's mission must become ours. Their hope for a world free from nuclear fear is our shared goal. The legacy of 1945 calls us to empathy, cooperation, and peace. Let us honor the past by choosing peace for the future.